Welcome to Draft Picks. We are here.
We are here.
Yeah, we
still at final draft.
We are we never leave. Eventually,
we live here.
Eventually, we'll wander outside.
Wait, no, I'm agoraphobic. It's scary and hot out there.
I could actually imagine you being agoraphobic and have like the stack of like boxes of pizza because you never go outside to throw it out.
It's true. It actually
it
very does happen.
We are doing a little Dogfish Head review because we have a bunch of them here on, not on tap, but in the fridge. We are going to start with the 60-minute IPA. What do we know about the 60-minute IPA?
It's a hot boil for 60 minutes. Hence the name. It's kind of one of their flagships. It's been around for probably as long as they have. Very good basic beer. I mean, it's nothing. It's been around just a really long time, so it really sits into that just kind of older model of IPAs that people think of when they think of nice malty up front, bitter in the back.
And if you don't know Dogfish Head, they do some weird stuff.
They do.
But okay, that's the normal one. That's a little less normal, and then it gets a little.
Yeah, pretty much if you've learned anything with a yellow cap is buckle your seatbelt because they're high octane.
So I believe the 60, 90, and 120 are supposed to use the same hops. It didn't say what hop they use, but it's supposed to be 60-minute boil, 60 IBUs, and about 6% alcohol.
It's a nice, clean, crisp. It's really fairly refreshing. It's actually just a good, easy drinking IPA. It's not overly bitter like some of the Northwest styles that would really overpower somebody. Good place to start. I'd equate it to about as hoppy as I could see in Nevada Pale Ale. Mm-hmm. Or maybe even a little less than that, so it's actually a pretty good place to start.
Not going to be as like malt character as a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, but
it's not nearly hoppy enough for our former host Will.
Where has that guy been?
I don't know. He disappeared.
MIA.
He's gone. Yeah, so we'll do the 90-minute next, which should just be a little bit stronger version of the same. Again, it's only a red cap, so it's not that bad.
And I guess they make a 75-minute one too.
And I'm gonna try not to kill us like Brent did with giant pours. But we are actually, down here at Final Draft today, we are doing a tasting from noon to 2 of every dogfish that we have. We're gonna open them up and basically do a big bottle share that's on us. So feel free to come on down. It's not a hard 2, so it doesn't end at 2 if you don't make it down by then. Except for when it comes to 120, I'm only opening 4 bottles. After that, you just gotta buy one because I already dropped one this morning, so I'm already down one. I was that guy today.
He was the only guy. Yeah, it's a 90-minute boil. They say it's Imperial IPA, double IPA, whichever you want to call it. It's 9% alcohol.
And see, now that's getting definitely a little more. You can taste the oil, the resin that's in there from the hopping. Mm-hmm. It's starting to get a little on the hopping side. Not necessarily bitter, like just
not bitter.
Cut you the back of the throat bitter, but the oil part, you can really feel the oiliness of the beer from that.
Yeah,
similar to like how the Waldo or the 420 from Stone had their very, very oily feeling because they use a lot of the resin to get them that bitter.
Yeah, and kind of like the Waldo, you're gonna get like a little bit of malt hop sweetness to it, alcohol sweetness too. Because I mean it's 9%, so it's 3% more than the last one. But
to me, that's perfect. If I was going to sit down and have a beer, in the evening and treat it almost like a cigar, you could probably get 20 minutes out of one of these and actually sit back and enjoy it. But it changes, it warms up and gets air. Not to sound like a wino, but that does happen with these.
You get like a little fruitiness to it. I think that's the sweetness that you get from it.
See, I'm not that refined. I actually get just the oil, but it's not in a bad way.
You don't finish yours?
I'll finish them later. But now we have the dilemma. Do we pop the World Stout or do we go for the heavy hitter?
I say we
keep it in line.
Yeah, might as well keep it hoppy.
And this one, it says right on the bottle, this is the Holy Grail. This one is, if you've never had it, I'm not sure what you're doing with your life. If you've never heard of it, I mean, you should really come and try it. This is one of the best beers I've ever had in my life. And I've even had a 14-year-old bottle, and it ages amazingly. It was fantastic. They call it a quad IPA, mainly because I don't think they can count, because it tastes like a barley wine. And I remember when we had this one on tap a couple weeks or months ago, I would actually tell people to take the first drink when it came out and then actually let it sit to get some air and warm up like a wine would do, because it will change flavors and the booziness actually goes away.
And like Shelby says, it's boiled for 120 minutes. So if you look at the other, I was gonna say the other, one, so you still the glasses.
Oh.
You can tell the difference in color.
This is the 120, the 60, and the 90.
Yeah. So
you can see where it goes, but it's very, very, very. I say we've always said it tastes more like a barley wine because it's got real heavy body, very, very oily, very, very smooth, but it is boozy. And the funny part about it is they don't actually put on here what it is. So they say it ranges anywhere from 16 to 21%. So we actually have no idea.
It says 120 IBUs, but I'm sure it's all questionable.
Yeah, and to bring back an old word, this one is just straight gnarly. This is probably one of the best beers I've ever had in my life.
Has a nice sweet hop character to it. It's gonna have like a little bitterness bite at the end. It's kind of like, I think we said, like American barley wine kind of
Yeah,
style.
see, I don't actually get a whole lot of bitter out of it. To me, it's heavy. You get a very like almost stone fruit, like plum flavor. Just there's a lot of very complex flavors there that is. I didn't even know you could boil a hop that long, but what do I know?
I kind of wish they put this something like an oak. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what it does because, like I said, this thing ages. You know, as I said, I had a 14-year-old bottle. It was fantastic. And actually, the boozy part goes away when they're that old.
They get toned down.
They do. So you actually get a lot more of the fruit flavor, a lot more of the grain flavor out of the beer that is just. So I got nothing bad to say about that one.
If you are one of those beer people that you come across this and get a good deal, it's not bad to buy a 4-pack and just have one per year and then see how it goes or save them up.
Yeah, right now we have them, in the fridge. They're $14.49 a bottle. However, if you do buy a 4-pack to go, we actually discount those 20%. So like you said, take one home, have it, and throw the rest in the fridge and just have one a year or let them sit.
Use it to celebrate someone's birthday, your birthday, child's birthday.
Yep. It says right there, enjoy now or in a decade or so, and I can vouch for that one personally.
So the next one we're having,
this is a new one for me. I haven't had it, so
it's also one of the heavy hitters. Quick for Shark Week or something like that. Yeah. It's a Rolled White Stout. This is also like one of Sam the Brewer's, one of his beers that he's made for a long, long time.
And it's also in that realm of they don't actually tell you how strong it is, so.
Yeah, and I think it's just because they change up the recipe a little bit every single year, and sometimes it just matters on how long they boil for, or...
Let's just say if you have an interlock device in your car, you probably don't want this beer.
You can sometimes find other variants of this too. I don't think I've ever seen other variants in a bottle, but I've seen them on kegs or on tap.
I've actually never had this one, so I'm looking forward to trying it because it says right on the bottle it is brewed with, and I had it memorized and now I forgot, it's with a ridiculous amount of barley.
Yep.
So I'm assuming pretty darn malty, nice and toasty with how dark it is.
They really like this amount of coffee because all I see is beans on the bottle. So
I think that's the toasted barley.
Very dark beer.
And Lars doing show texture like Cheerios box.
It's pretty well balanced. It's a little sweet, but
I expected a little more like coffee or chocolate out of it. It actually is milder than I expected.
It's a little bit more viscous than your average stout.
But it's boozy. You can taste the booze in it, but it is.
It has a nice balance of coffee and roast of the malt.
But it's still a pretty light body. Like it actually is a light mouthfeel. It's not as heavy as I was expecting for what they were putting on the bottle.
For 17 to 20 or 15 to 20%.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just is I was expecting Quaker State, and this is more like zero weight for all you car guys out there.
I think it's a great one to have. It's one I think I could finish by myself.
Oh yeah, you could. I did a Puka Chef's Cobra by myself. You could do this one by yourself.
I mean, that's the other nice thing about some of these bottles. They're not coming in like bomber size.
That's true. That one hurt.
They're coming in nice, like what, 16 ounce or 12 ounce bottles. So, I mean, it's kind of fun to kind of try different ones, and especially like some of these bigger ones. You're like, oh, I want to share with like one other friend or my wife or husband. It's kind of something you could have after dinner, especially when it's like been a rough week because all the kids are back in school and you've just been driving your hell out of your car and you're just...
First week as a teacher.
But it's not the first beer this week either. But it's a great thing to have,
It is. I want to try this one.
Down.
I'm actually going to let this one warm up a little bit and see what it does. Because I noticed on some of these big ones like this too, especially like with the 120s, they get a little bit warmer. They actually open up a lot more, and you get a lot more of the flavors out of them that you normally wouldn't get when they're cold. I mean, this one isn't very cold to begin with. It sat in the fridge all night, which Josh from CNC, if you're watching, maybe we should talk. But
oh, Josh. Well, this is also a beer that you could age for a while too. I've been to some brewery or tap rooms where like, oh, we have 3 different years, and they do taste different because, as you can tell, 15 to 20% alcohol each year is going to change a little bit, so each one's going to age a little differently. Kind of like the.
I would actually say that this one is, now having sat here and sipped it for a little bit, it would be a lighter bodied version of probably say like a parabola, to put it in other terms that somebody might be able to associate it with.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's along that same line of, you know, I almost get like a bit of raisin or something out of it that you get from those.
Raisin, dark, maybe a little oak toast to it.
Yeah, this one will be nice. I'm gonna let mine sit for about 20 minutes and see what it does.
It says it's 70 IBUs, which is kind of perplexing, but
yeah, I don't
what they
get
do.
that at all. I would have said like 30 something. That's not, to me, it's not bitter at all.
We both know Dogfish Head. They've been around forever. They're kind of some of the pioneers of craft brewing, and they sell a lot more than just big alcohol beers.
They do. They actually, yeah, we've got actually a variety pack here that's got their Sequential, which is a nice little summertime sour ale they made. It's made with black lime and sea salt. We actually have that one on tap right now. It's pretty fantastic, especially
it's good
for
for this
degrees.
weather, especially if you want to like watch kids soccer or softball or baseball. Right?
And then they actually have a new version. We didn't bring the can over here, but they do have a new low-calorie IPA similar to the Dayman from Lagunitas. It's about 3.6 grams of carbs.
4-point-something alcohol percent.
Yeah, it's actually pretty light, but it's still got a nice hop character to it. We do have all those. They're all new to the fridge here at Final Draft. And like I said, we have the Sequential up on tap now. And we do have a keg of this that we're aging for a year to see what it does on tap next year. So keep that in mind for March.
Also, if you notice with a lot of the Dogfish Heads, they will put, I don't know if you guys see it, but they will put like a little writing on the neck of the bottle of like when it was bottled on. So that was bottled last year.
This one is bottled
Last year.
September 14th of 18.
And that one was
it's already a year
bottled
old.
this month. And this was bottled not that long ago either. So it's always good to, especially these hoppy beers, is see how long they've been sitting in the refrigerators and if they're fresh or not. You guys have...
Yeah, the lower boil ones, the fresher the better. The ones like these are...
It won't matter as much.
They can
It's
sit
good to
forever.
compare though, so if you
They
have
are.
this year's and last year's, it's kind of fun to see the nuances between the two.
And that's what we're hoping to do with the 120, because we got that keg I said that we're aging for a year that was already a year old when we got it. And we're gonna get this
another one?
We're gonna get this coming year's in March when we put it on. And we'll do a side by side with those, a special flight.
That's a special flight.
Special flight, because you'll be flying after you drink 2 of those.
You guys have someone coming over on Thursday?
This Thursday, actually, Four Peaks will be here hosting our trivia night. They're going to bring 4 different beers, plus a special one-off that the brewmaster is going to bring himself as we lead into the weekend coming up this Thursday. So yeah, come on down. Trivia from 6 to 8 here at Final Draft. It's always a good time.
Yeah, and actually let's take a walk to look at the fridge and maybe give Shelby to take care of some patrons.
Yeah, I got to go back and help some people.
Let's go real quick to the fridges. So, if you haven't been to Final Draft, we usually have donuts somewhere, but that's not part of the deal. But we have a lot of bottles and cans. We try to keep their fridges full. We even have hard kombucha, which for those that we have it on tap as well, and some cocktails. And we just have a little bit of everything. So we have local and commercial, and we even have some modern times and whatnot. So if you guys want to come by and try out some beers, buy some cans, like Shelby says, there's a